Warning. Warning. This is not a test. This is not a test.
An unknown germ is being blown around the world. It's highly contagious and it's reached plague proportions.
And you don't believe some of the dead have come back?
We woke up inside a play, counting down to Judgment Day. One by one they sell our souls, parasitic cannibals. Just as things you dug your grave. We will take till there's nothing left. Break, now we're seeing red. Burned us once, but never again. Turning slowly into the living dead. Fear the reaper, better pray. Cashing out, there's hella pay. Technicolor rock and roll, creature feature horror show. Flesh to the bone, leave the world exposed. Tested fate, you dug your grave. We will take till there's nothing left. Break, now we're seeing red. Burned us once, but never again. Turning slowly into the living dead. Fight our way through the static, psychosomatic. Take till there's nothing left. Break, now we're seeing red. Burned us once, but never again. Turning slowly into the living dead. We woke up inside a into the living dead. We are the living dead.
Drop it.
Tonight, All on TV is happy to have you with us as we make our way to wine country. As we count down to green for the start of tonight's coverage of Moonshiners and its racing leagues. Tonight, the OB Builders Cup Series gets ready to go racing from iRacing's virtual Sonoma Raceway for tonight's coverage of the Victory Designs 250 here at Sonoma. Again, happy to have you with us for tonight's coverage. As we get set to go racing, I'm Justin Prince. Alongside the booth tonight is Jeremy Miller. Our producer this evening is DJ Line, using cameras provided by Whiplash Sim Cams. Tonight we go left and right in wine country. Back-to-back road course races on the schedule. It's going to make things all the more interesting here, Jeremy, as these drivers get ready to zip around Sonoma.
Yeah, definitely a more forgiving track this week than last week on the streets of Chicago, but still a road course nevertheless going to present a very unique challenge for a lot of these drivers. A lot of elevation change here at Sonoma. It's going to be the biggest thing these guys fight all night as they go up and down the hills here.
Yes, indeed. It's going to be an interesting night, to say the very least, as these drivers get ready to attack Sonoma Raceway, known at one point as Sears Point. Infineon was actually one of the names as well over the years. A few years, we've also had drivers attempt the carousel. But tonight, of course, we're at the short chute layout, which brings itself some passing opportunities. Leading to the back half of the course, we're expect a lot of drivers, at least, to leapfrog their way up the inside and make some passes up through turn 6. And that's going to make things all the more important for drivers in track position to be able to get the job done. So far, 11 drivers have locked themselves in via wins in the playoff standings. Once again, to remind you, Paul Gallimore was last week 11 points up on the cut line, Jeremy.
Yep, no movement there. And you see Aaron Matthews also only 11 points up now. Him and Gallimore tied as the final drivers in. Jeffrey Taylor still looking to close that gap. This is another race where there can be a big swing in that if one of these drivers has some issues and aren't too familiar with this racetrack. You can see Jeffrey Taylor jump in, and you can't count some guys below that cut line out from winning still. So even if you're in on points or not, you probably still want to get yourself that win to lock into the playoffs.
It's going to be all the more important as time goes on to keep an eye on that playoff window as we get ready to go racing from wine country. Let's take a look at your race analysis for tonight. We do have a few stages here. Not sure about those totals there, but 20 and 40 should be those totals. But these drivers also will be racing 79 laps instead of 75, so they did have an adjusted race distance compared to what was originally listed for the series. These drivers only have 4 tire sets available in the pits as well, so basically only enough tire sets for your respective strategies on fuel here. So we'll have to see how drivers handle the strategies, but shouldn't have to take green flag pit stops the first 2 stages. Well, you can flip the stage at least, though, Jeremy.
Yeah, definitely going to be seeing a lot of guys flip that stage running up front at the end of these. Not prioritizing the stage points, prioritizing track position, trying to keep that car up front on the ensuing restarts, especially at the end of the second stage to get moving forward in that final stage where we will most likely run the entire stage green. Very unlikely if it's something happens that would necessitate a caution to be thrown by race control. So that'll be a 39 lap run to the end, and you're going to want to start up front if you can for that one.
Yes, indeed. And keep in mind, Chicago, when we went there, the previous running was a bit of a hurricane, to say the very least, for these drivers. Competitors tonight looking for a little bit more calmness to their schedules here at Sonoma Raceway. 24 drivers are on the entry list for this evening's race here in California. That should make things all the more interesting as these competitors get racing. What are you keeping an eye on here tonight as these drivers get ready to finish up qualifying?
Yeah, definitely going to be watching a lot more racing opportunity here. Not as narrow of a racetrack. You don't have walls on each side of you throughout most of the track, so drivers will be able to take a little more risks. There's some pretty clear-cut passing zones here, especially down in turn 11, that hairpin, the finish the lap here. You'll see people throwing some pretty deep dives there, but it can be a little bit misleading, and you may break a little early, and that person may look like they're overdriving the corner, but make it stick down there on the curb and get by you. So we should see some great opportunities and some great battles here tonight.
Qualifying just completed, by the way, for these competitors, so they'll get ready to get steady and race around the racetrack here at Sonoma Raceway. 79 laps, once again, the docket, about 250 miles to be able to go around California. Let's take a look at the starting lineup. Alex Coffey starts on the pole with Jeffrey Taylor starting next to him. Those drivers within a tenth of a second of each other in the quali session. Matt Cox starts in third tonight. Alongside him will be Kyle Holden and the 88 machine. Row number 3, Barry Sanders brings a different look, 81. Sean Rogers, his normal blue machine, is next to him. These drivers 9/10 out the pole. That's Shane White in 7th spot. Paul Gallimore start in 8th. And rounding out your top 10, Timothy Harper had a chance to win last time out. Corey Moore starts next to him in a pair of dig cars.
Just missing out on top 10 this evening. Blaine Wilson starts off 11th. Joining him is Chris Davis in the 12th position. Following off 13th, then it'll be 83 at Tim Wortman Jr., who had some good speed last week, joined by Justin Belmonte in the 60. In the 15th position is going to be Kevin Ruff in the 14, and Brandon Bikey rolls off 16th. And the last of our drivers to set a lap this evening is Caden Northry, and following him will be Hunter Carmichael in 18th. And then we will have in 19th Johnny Shade, joined by his teammate Nigel Christensen in 20th.
21st goes to Nick King this evening. Jose Medina will bring a cigarette theme scheme to the track in 22nd. Nicholas Atwood starts 23rd. And Ryan Huff rounds out the entries here tonight. Of note, Carmichael and Atwood are not at the facility currently. So 2 pace laps on the docket before we get going here. Your keys to victory, first of all, Jeremy.
Don't beat yourself. You see Alex Coffey there on the pole. Well, he's had a chance to win the last 2 road courses we've watched here in this league, and he's beat himself in both those races. Be looking for him not to make those mistakes and keep his race clean. And even more important than that is don't let somebody else make a mistake for you. We're going to see some aggressive driving, especially on these restarts early. Be cautious of what's going on in your mirror. Don't get run over.
Remember, you're all about sheet metal pole award going the way of Coffey tonight. That pole time here this evening to set the standard 1 minute 14.020 to be able to pace the field today in the 54 machine. We'll see how he handles the racetrack here. A lap and a half of pacing to go. Do you think it's Coffey's night for the win, or do you think it's somebody else that gets the job done tonight, Jeremy?
Yeah, last week we saw Barry Sanders Jr. lock himself in with a win at Chicago. Up there on the front row, I see Jeffrey Taylor. He's currently on the outside of that bubble. He's one of the drivers 11 points out. He could use a good points night tonight, so I think he's going to stay out at the end of those stages. I think that takes him out of contention for a win, possibly. I think Coffey gets it done today.
I have an opportunity to talk with the driver from Chicago that had some great speed, Barry Sanders. How are you feeling about this run here tonight at Sonoma?
Not as confident as I did at Chicago, but we got a little bit of speed, put in a little work. Haven't had as much practice time as I'd like with it, but we're just going to try to stay clean and keep it on the track and see where we wind up.
Why don't you feel as confident here compared to what we had at Chicago Street Course?
I'm really comfortable with Chicago braking zones and, getting off the corners. Here it's a little bit more tricky, a little less lateral grip. I don't know. It just doesn't fit my style as well as Chicago did. I think we'll have some speed, but I don't know if we can repeat or not. There's some fast guys around us.
So overall, how do you feel the competitors are going to handle themselves around this racetrack here tonight?
I'd say you'll see a lot of slipping and sliding and spinning, man, to be honest with you. So I hope I'm not one of them. We're just going to try to stay up here around the top 5, top 3 range and keep it on the track and not worry about what everybody else is doing and just race the track. I think that's the best thing for us to do.
Anything you want to know before we head to the back half of the course for the race for this initial start?
Is there anything I what?
Anything you want to note before we let you get back to your team?
Nah, I'm good to go, buddy. I'm just trying to get focused here a little bit.
All right, we'll let you get back to your team.
Sorry.
Thanks for the time.
Sorry, there's a lot of people talking over the race chat there. I couldn't really hear a lot of what you said.
All good. Barry Sanders, take a time to speak with us here as we get ready for this initial start here. Interesting words about the racetrack from Barry Sanders, but he'll start amongst the top 5 here tonight, Jeremy.
Yeah, definitely looking for another good run out of him. I think what he said there is definitely going to be true. A lot of slipping and sliding here. You see that track temp, 114 degrees to start off the night. Partly cloudy, but that sun's still going to be beating down this racetrack. It's hot and slick, and this track is known for being loose, so I think we'll see quite a few guys going around tonight.
So we're just about set to go racing here. The Victory Designs 250, the OB Builders Cup Series, ready to rock from Sonoma. Pace car is off. Happy with us for tonight's coverage here from Sonoma as they'll come up to the Sim Wrap Market start zone. That start zone, a bit more of an eyeball test around this track here this evening. Coffee ready to launch from it. Green flag is out. We're underway from Sonoma.
Very strong launch from Coffee. He'll clear himself, headed up here, up the uphill. Pretty heavy braking zone this first lap. You're not going to be at full speed. Can get a little bit ahead of yourself, but it looks like everybody's going to get through here clean for now, side by side for second.
Still not clear as Cox tries to keep it up the inside in the beast mode. Performance machine goes for the crossover. Taylor got loose. Now Matt Cox able to get the edge and get the nose ahead to hold on to second off the start. Good start for him, bad start for Taylor.
Yeah, you saw there out of that turn, Taylor getting over that outside curbing. That's going to be a trouble spot tonight. You hit those curbs wrong, your car can bottom out and spin. Taylor falls to fourth with that moment there. You see Kyle Holden, he's been one of the fastest cars on the road courses all season, already up to P3. Had a real shot to win last week until some troubles took him out of the race.
Great speed for him on the road courses this season. He's looking for second. Sends it deep. Makes the car stick on the inside curbing to make the pass up to second. Alex Coffey, meanwhile, was gone. First lap, 2.4 seconds at the stripe, just about. A fast start for car 54.
Yeah, those two battling behind him was really able to help him stretch out that gap. Coffee was the fastest car in practice, put it on pole, has a lot of speed, so when two cars are battling side by side behind him, they're just not going to keep up with that 54. That's why I said in the pre-race, if he just doesn't beat himself tonight, I think this could be his night on a road course.
Meanwhile, for some of the others in the heart of the pack, such as Ruff, trying to hold on to their race car at the moment. Ruff a +1 in the early going already. Belmonte keeping up with them. Belmonte, not normally known for the road courses, had some struggles last time out. And all these drivers have already dropped back 11 seconds from the leader.
Yeah, the field's spreading out pretty quickly here. See some separation throughout different points in the field. A little bit of groups here and there where drivers are going to be battling. You got to be smart with the guys you're battling. These are the people that are similar pace with you. You're probably going to be around them all night, so you don't want to make any enemies early here.
No, you definitely don't. You don't want a lot of bumping and running. You don't want a lot of drivers turning each other around here. You want it nice and calm. If you're the competitors here, especially to make sure you don't anger the Goodyear Eagles. Holden just set the fastest lap, but didn't make any inroads because it was only a couple 100s quicker than Coffey. Right now, Wilson holding on to the top 10 to start off this race. And we know Wilson, last time out, had track position, had incidents from the front that gave him heavy damage.
Yeah, Wilson did have some struggles last week. P10 right now, you see popping up on top of the screen. Nick King in the 12 had some issues in turn 1, akin to Ryan Blaney in real life, running that same scheme. So, unfortunate for him, that meatball will mean his night is over as he caught the concrete barrier on the outside of turn 1.
RS Button Box's replay. First one snap loose. Rides the concrete barrier, nearly pulls a Casey Kane more than a Ryan Blaney. And that destroys the suspension on the 12. We'll see if they get the damage repaired, try and score some points here. Right now, they're already 30 seconds back of the rest of the field. The Warrior Racing Machine will drive wounded as a result there. Here's a look at Barry Sanders. Response picked up so far, but he is trying to close up to a beast mode performance car in Taylor to try and get the 4th spot.
See these cars winding through the two uphill sections of this racetrack. Turn 2 down here into turn 3 and 3A, where they're going to go up that little S. Very technical section. It's pretty high speed compared to a lot of the rest of the racetrack, but it's very easy to make a mistake, slip wrong with all the elevation change there, and over to curbing, like I said earlier, it can be pretty dangerous. See drivers mostly trying to avoid that as they come down here into this one of our passing zones. Get down on that curb, you can use that to get your car to rotate a little better.
Absolutely can, and that time, some troubles for Ryan Huff. He had gained a few spots from the start, talked about in qualifying. It was the fastest lap he ever turned around here. He's has already picked up a slide on the RS Button Boxes replay. Did pick up the tire barrier, we can tell you from this.
Yeah, as we still take a look at what happened to him here, is just going through that uphill section. See, the car just gets light on him coming over the hill. That's one of the issues there, and there's just no catching that race car when it comes out from under you that quickly, Justin.
And that's one of the danger areas potentially here tonight because it's such a blind corner. Where else do you feel the danger zones are tonight here at Sonoma?
Yeah, any of the passing zones, and then like that uphill right there. I mean, the car just gets so light through there, and I've all through racing here all my years on the sim, I've just always been so loose getting into that uphill section as well that when you get light at the top of it, your rears are almost out of the racetrack and they're chattering, and it's just a really difficult place to get around right there. But the passing zones in 7 and 11 as well, because you're trying to throw a dive bomb, you wheel hop yourself a little, or if a guy behind you dive bombs you, and off that curve you saw Bikey back there too out of turn 4. That one can get pretty hairy as well.
By the way, repairs are done for Nick King. Looks like he will keep going after fixing the meatball flag and try and score some points, albeit a few laps down. Some of our battles around the racetrack, far side of the course. This is towards the back. Nigel Christensen, Caden Norfrey. Norfrey trying to keep up Christensen. Decent pace the last time out, but looking to have a little bit more cleaner of a finish as Christensen just trying to tiptoe here.
See a bit of the grass being used up there by the 56 North 3. That's okay. It's not really going to hurt you too much. It actually can almost cool your tires, and you do it just right. It can be a bit of a positive as he's still hounding the back bumper of this 20 car. These two back here racing for the 19th position, already 30 seconds off our lead.
Stage caution can't come quick enough for some of the drivers already, and we're only 5-6 minutes in. Some of the others getting lockstep close. That's Corey Moore that's in the middle. So far, lockstep into place. Same for Gallimore. Tim Wortman Jr. though. He last time out was amongst those who tried different strategies at Chicago. Made some of them work. Seems to have some speed again with the Warrior Racing car, but no place to send it yet.
Doing a great job keeping that car as far left as he can. That's very important to set up that right-hander right there. Carry a lot of speed down here into 11. Looking to the inside. We'll see if he attempts this dive. Doesn't look like he's going to put his nose there just yet. But you see a little bit of a lockup out of the 19 there in front of him. That's going to allow Wortman to get on side of Corey Moore, and they'll be side by side down the front straightaway now for his position going into turn 1.
Able to make the pass easily from the outside. Wortman Jr. given the space to do so. Next up is Gallimore, as mentioned, in the order. Try and make some more inroads here. On lap 7, already these drivers thinking about lap 20. And for many of these teams, it's going to be about how this fall off affects them. A lot of these teams are still setting their personal best lap times right now, Jeremy. That cliffing point is about this lap where you'll start to see the times decrease, or rather get slower.
Yeah, drivers doing pretty good with their tires so far. We will see some fall off as the run continues. Definitely going to need tires on all those stops tonight, so drivers will be taking those 4 when they can get them, and definitely a lot less fall off than we saw in Chicago, and I think a lot of that just because there's less risk through the braking zones here. Drivers are more confident with their car and able to push the car further to its capabilities. As you see Gallimore up there in front of Wortman still. Wortman closing on him pretty quickly. See if he can make a similar move he made on Corey Moore this time. Gallimore doesn't make any mistakes here in 11 though, so Wortman's still going to have to follow in behind.
Up front, Kyle Holden. He's not been able to close up the gap to Coffey. He's lost ground the last lap or so. Cox, he's still been keeping that 88 company as they reach lap traffic, as there goes Nick King into the wall again.
King just got over that curve a little bit too aggressive, bottomed out like we spoke about earlier. He's still trying to rejoin the track a little bit further back. Didn't hit anything this time in the 12, but his poor evening continues as that car is not looking too hot right now.
Our RS Button Boxes replay, remember he only got the meatball flag repaired. not the rest of the damage, and wheel hops into the wall.
Did catch the inside wall a little bit there with the left side of the car. Not too much more damage than what he already had, though, so he's going to keep limping around here, trying to finish as many laps as he can. At this point, he's just hoping for drivers to wreck out and pick out points that way. Is already a lap off the field, and it's going to continue to fall back more and more with damage like that.
2 laps down specifically. Oh, and he's moving to the braking zone a little bit. Gavin rough. I've seen a little bit of a spook up to make sure he didn't hit the barriers. Chris Davis zipped by, no issue. And now, no traffic for a while. Matt Cox, looking pretty good here so far. No major spins, that's the big difference. Chicago, it was spins everywhere, chaos everywhere. This race, it's so much more calmer compared to what we've seen in the Windy City.
Yeah, definitely a lot more calm, just more comfortable. I mean, people that have been sim racing or just even invested in NASCAR, Sonoma's a track that the sport's gone to for years. Drivers are very familiar with this facility, where Chicago is still a newer thing, and street racing itself is completely foreign to stock car racing. Only have had a handful of races there so far, so a little bit more comfort here at a track that drivers are familiar with can lead to some better racing and a lot cleaner of a product as well.
Now, we see how the drivers keep the cleanness together here as the night goes on. Gallimore didn't stick the bottom. Orban Jr. taking a small peek to the right side of the racetrack. No move made quite yet. And that's the one thing I'm seeing. Warman Jr. very conservative on his pass attempts. He's not trying to force it. He's just waiting for the drivers to either let him go or make that mistake to be able to get on by. Not trying to make contact here.
Yeah, we've seen Wortman all season long. The driver really takes care of that equipment. Something I've noticed so far, Bo, is that car seems to have really good drive off compared to those around him. He's done a great job taking care of those rears, which is what's allowing him to get that position on the exit of 11 and probably do something similar here, as it looks like Gallimore's wide and letting him go this time. So that'll put Wortman through, and we'll see what he can do with some clean racetrack. And Corey Moore's going to follow him there around Paul Gallimore in the 11.
Yes, indeed. Able to make the pass. Same for Corey Moore with that swap. So a couple drivers able to slip on through as Coffey keeps leading, but it's not as big of a lead as before. Last time by, it lost about half a second, interestingly enough. Outside of that, he's been consistently quick each and every time. Now, the reason for the losses, not quite sure. Looked to be pretty stable, but this is the thing. It's the question on how the fall off would affect some of these drivers.
Yeah, Coffey seems to not be doing quite as well on his tires as Kyle Holden is out there behind him. Not too bad right now, but definitely going to want more out of that 54. He'll get that pit stop soon. He'll probably come in and flip the stage. If I had to guess here, he'll just have to be careful to make sure he doesn't hit any crew members down there in that 54 car. But outside of that, he's going to be looking to get those tires, keep the lead, and see if he can set sail again at the beginning of the next stage and get that big gap. That's what's really helping him right now, is Holden wasn't close to him to start this run, so even when he's gaining marginally like this, it's so far back, it's not going to matter to him.
Yeah, right now, this is manageable for Coffey. That's going to be the major thing, is just maintaining for the next 10-15 minutes before we make our way through to the pit lane. Mind you, with all this too, Holden has been trying to minimize any tire slide. Has been looking very stiff in terms of the balance. Little wiggle right there, but he's trying to really make sure he's safe on the throttle.
I think Cox is showing some real flashes here, possibly some better pace than that 88 in front of him. Really goes back and forth with all three of the top three right now. And then you see Taylor back there in fourth. He's kind of maintained his own. I think right now he's pretty clearly the fourth of these four cars, which is where he's running. That's completely fine. And like I said earlier, I think the strategy for a 9 car here should be to not flip the stage, take the stage points, and try to close that gap on Gallimore. for the playoff position. If you don't think you can win tonight, you think these three are better than you, I think that's your best call. A little bit in the dirt there from Holden.
Yeah, picked up some dirt on the tires. Picked up some dirt, but didn't lose too much time. In fact, they've chipped away about half a tenth compared to last time by, if not a tenth of a second stripe. So a small little close up, but not too much.
60 Belmonte just had a pretty big crash in the S's, I believe. He looks like he'll be able to continue forward, but he caught a tire barrier quite hard getting out through there, and you can see the damage on that machine. Not looking too bad on the left front, but definitely seen some better days.
That's an Air Warrior car that had some wheel hop. Belmonte saves it across the track. I think tried to stay out of the way of Cabin Rough, instead sent himself into the wall.
Now, for as hard as that hit looked, the damage doesn't look too terrible on that 60 car. It bounced him up in the air quite a bit, but the fender held up pretty well, and you know, it's a little pushed in, but all looks pretty well. I can't see much wheel damage there, but obviously he would know in the car more than I do if that wheel's off position or not right now.
Oh, and there it goes again. Great lockup to be able to keep it from sliding into the sand traps. But this car does not look comfortable. The second Warrior car to go snippity snap in these corners.
Yeah, jumping on board to his cockpit, the steering wheel does look maybe possibly a little bit out of position for him, so that probably leading to a little bit of an issue, as well as just the hot tires after spinning that previous lap. Gonna make it more difficult getting around. You see here on board, he's just a little bit left in the straighter sections on the wheel, but nothing too bad. I think it's gonna be pretty repairable for him.
We'll have plenty of time to get the repairs done with the caution periods here in the next few minutes. Downside is he is running 16th up front again. These two have lost a lot of ground all of a sudden after gaining so much traction. So it seems like the time's really fluctuating. Parts of this track as Coffee has gotten comfortable yet again to be able to get the power back down. Seems to be ebb and flowing on the pace, where Coffee saving a little bit, then pushing. These drivers save a little bit, then push too.
Yeah, Coffee with his lead right now can really just manage himself, and I think that's what he's doing such a good job of right now. Doesn't want to make the mistakes he had made in previous races. Coxwell looking to the inside here. He's definitely faster than Holden right now, and no contest out of the 88. It's going to run very wide. Let that 32 on through. A little bit too wide from Holden. I think he gave up way too much time there letting that 32 through, but Cox will appreciate that. We'll see if he can make any inroads on the lead of Coffee, channeling a little bit of SVG with the Red Bull inspired paint scheme, but we see Huff here on pit road right now making service.
Earlier than expected here. This does put him a lap down now. We'll see if he is getting full service. It looks like he's just sitting down in the box. He's not even going up on the jacks right now.
And possibly some damage needing to be repaired on that 24. We see another Red Bull inspired car here. Tim Wortman Jr. is caught up to the back bumper of the 18 of Blaine Wilson. He's moving forward still. Tim doing a good job taking care of those tires on the long run here. Starting to get rewarded for it as he moves through some more positions.
Again, just taking his time. Not too many major movers. Jose Medina is the biggest of the field so far, but he started basically dead last to +5. For the most part, if you qualified up front, you're likely to be up front. If you qualify to the back, the likelihood is you're in the back so far. It seems like the type of race tonight where it's going to be extremely difficult for strategy. There's those most positions gained. Wortman Jr. the second most. So now, how do you get that track position? Because some of these drivers have lost 23 seconds of the leader, some as far back as 1 minute on the lead lap.
Yeah, really the biggest move you can make is to flip the stages, but like you said, the driver's further back about a minute off. That's a risk that you're considering there, because you're really gambling on the fact that the leaders are going to pit, and I really don't think the 9 should. So if you pit back in those positions, that 9 probably laps you. So not a lot of drivers in position right now to comfortably flip the stage, which also can make it interesting for our leaders who will flip the stage to maybe even stay in the points after that stop, as they're so far ahead of some of those cars.
Good battling back here, Medina right now in front of Christensen. Last time by, it was Christensen who was 0.6 quicker than Medina. This time by, how will those lap intervals change around? Well, it was quicker for Medina. It's the battle of the Toyotas here. Jose Medina doing pretty nicely around here. Looking a lot more comfortable than last week where he did not have a pretty time.
Yeah, it was a rough run for Medina on those streets of Chicago for sure. Kept the car clean so far here. He's our biggest mover so far, up 5 positions as we covered, and 16th right now, having a respectable run so far. Just keep that car clean, get a good finish out of it. He could use that right now as Nigel Christensen takes a look to the right side of that car. Nothing to it yet. The 20's definitely handling the back bumper of the 48 though.
Last time out, it was still a top 10 for Medina, but he was 58 seconds off the leader on the interval. The end of the 50 laps complete from the streets of Chicago. Right now, Christensen showing the nose to make some moves. Looking like it's smooth, looking like it's nice, looking pretty quick. Christensen gets the pass done fast.
Good move there from Christensen to get on through. You see back up here, Tim Wortman Jr. still working off the back of Christensen's teammate Blaine Wilson in the 18. Not forcing that move yet, as you've been saying all night long. Tim just very patient with these passes, and I respect it. You know, there's not too much to gain by forcing the pass. Let it happen when it happens, and Wilson's not too slow compared to the 83, not really holding him up much, just a little bit of a variance in pace, and you see this lap actually the 18's scooted away from that 83 a little bit, so some good defense here by Blaine Wilson holding on to his track position in 9th.
So a couple laps to go in the stage here. Timothy Harper came on down. 56 meanwhile, Norfrey spun it on out at the top of the hill. Now running about 19th position. Belmonte's also ducked down pit road with a tow.
Take a look at what ailed Northbury here, coming down the hill, or sorry, this is back to a live shot. Got down over that curve pretty well there. It's something always after the tires get heated up too, you gotta be really careful. You see Bikey slow off to the side there. That's Kevin Ruff pulling on through by him. Going up the hill through 3 and 3A, hit the curb quite a bit on the inside. That's usually a curve you want to avoid with these cars at this track. The underbodies of the next gen really changed the way you drive Sonoma, because it used to be so aggressive with the curbs here, Justin, but ever since we've started racing with the next gen, kind of want to avoid them like the plague throughout most of the racetrack.
Jeffrey Taylor just attempted to flip the stage here. So he is down. I'm going to start lap 19, so should be 2 laps to go until the stage end. I haven't seen the indication from race control on the official pit road closed in sim here. Tim Wortman Jr. also just came down here, so a few drivers coming down to pit to try and see if they can get some track position.
Taylor gambling on his ability to win the race here at this point. I just don't know how much I agree with this call. He had a chance to gain some really valuable points on Paul Gallimore here tonight with the stages and just outrunning him on pace alone, and now he's going to give Gallimore an opportunity to get points on him over in the stage, albeit just 2 that he's currently in line for in 9th. That's still 2 points on the cut line that could matter when we get to the end of the season, trying to determine who's going to be that 16th seed in the playoffs. You see Wortman down and away off his jacks.
Smooth service, about 41-42 seconds in the pit lane. No issues on its exit, 1 minute and 1 seconds in front of the leader. That's going to keep him on the lead lap. Alex Coffey, meanwhile, did not flip the stage. Oh, wow. We're at 1 lap to go in stage 1. Cox and Holden still close to each other. Their respective fight around the racetrack. They still have not been able to chip away the gap for the race lead, and they do have pretty clean track except for 1 lap car.
These two have not really separated from each other. Holden's actually chased Cox back down, and Cox has fallen off of Coffey. This is good news for Alex Coffey that he seems to have the best pace at this point in the run. Bad news for Matt Cox that he was able to get a second ahead of Kyle Holden, and Holden's back on the back bumper of that machine. That means he pushed his tires a little bit too hard for the middle portion of this run. He's struggling right now, just trying to get to that caution.
Oh, this is wow. Alex Coffey gets ready to complete the stage here. Monty and Northroy both have parked it along with Nick King, by the way. So, it'll be less than 20 cars remaining in the field. It's Alex Coffey who will take stage number 1, and he'll do so by more than a second. It's Cox and Holden in third, Rogers in fourth, Barry Sanders rounding out the top 5 in the stage. The others inside the top 10 include Wyatt, along with Wilson, Moore, Ruff, and Gallimore. At the moment, they still have a ways away to be able to make it some of these drivers.
Yeah, we're going to get about half a lap out of Coffee here before 10th place takes the line. Then the stage, you see we're just backing the pace down here. Ryan and Coffee actually cut his teammate there in front of him. A break on the last lap as Gallimore completes the stage there. That'll be the caution for the first stage here, as he'll earn that 1 point. That could be really important later this season. Keep that in mind.
Gonna help his case as Ryan Huff just towed as well on the caution lap. So our first stage, just like that, is complete, with Taylor, Harper, and Wortman Jr. planning to flip the stage. Everybody else going with the status quo. We'll take a step aside. More coverage here on Ballin TV after this. You're watching the Gobi Builders Cup Series from Sonoma.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Underneath
Welcome back to Ball and TV's coverage of the OB Builders Cup Series as we continue on with the beginning of Stage 2 for the Victory Designs 250. Here at Sonoma Raceway, getting set to go until about lap 40. Then is a race on to the checker flag from then on out to determine who picks up the win in this race. That final run going to be close, if not a full fuel run, just shy of it. So just about set to go with 3 drivers flipping the stage here, Jeremy. For the first time, Coffee will have dirty air to deal with.
Yeah, dirty air indeed. We saw with 9 and Jeffrey Taylor flip the stage. He needed stage points, but he's gambling on himself being able to win this race. He needs to maintain this lead, this track position to make this call worth it. If he falls back to where he was running, I would say it's mission fail for him, but he had a lot of pace in that first run. There is a significant chance that the clean air is enough for that 9 to scoot away.
We'll see how this restart now goes for these drivers in the next few moments or so. And it's Taylor, Harper, Wortman Jr., the first 3 cars. Then next up in the order will be Coffee, Holden, and Cox. Rogers and Wyatt, Sanders and Moore are once your top 10. As we come up to the same market restart zone. Well, then there starts and a half like that. Timothy Harper just put it in the barrier. Harper spun the tires going through for the restart. Hits the wall, and he is dropping like a rock.
Well, definitely can already say mission failed for Tim Harper on his attempt to flip the stage. He has already fallen outside of the top 10. He pokes his way back in, just as I say that. He's a side-by-side quarterback position. You see further up front, though, Matt Cox, Alex Coffey, Kyle Holden. They were our front runners before the stage ended, already up to 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and they're working off the back of Tim Wortman Jr. But Jeffrey Taylor has pulled himself away with a good gap here. We'll see if he can maintain that.
That was a huge jump off the start initially there. Caught everybody sleeping. Were you expecting that start to be that far back?
I wasn't until I saw him creeping around the outside of 11. I saw what he was doing, but it was he gamed it quite a bit, but no restart zones here gives you the opportunity to game it, and we've gotten so used as racers to having those restart zones. You see the mistake by Harper there, heavy damage right in front of that race car, so it's going to hinder the rest of his evening until he can get that repaired. But we've seen with the restart zones, we've kind of all been lulled into waiting, but that's not how it's done here at Sonoma. It's the old iRacing restarts where the leader can just go whenever they want, and that's where Taylor caught everybody sleeping right there.
You want to take a look at Holden. Lost spot to Cox off the initial start for that one. Just trying to get back into rhythm here. Wants the line. Right now, Coffee still yet to find his way around Wortman Jr. in terms of the lineup. So, looks like Chris Davis has just had some issues. He just fell down the pylon.
Yeah, he had a bit of a spin. It looked like some contact with Bikey. I don't know if that contact was the cause of the incident or a product of the spin. We'll take a look here. It looks like Bikey nowhere in the picture. So, on the RS button boxes replay, Davis is loose on his own. A little contact with Christensen, and Bikey actually was just taking evasive action, ended up in the dirt.
All this is while we keep on seeing the rest of the field zip its way through. It's a big opportunity for some of these drivers with this strategy flip to see where their true pace is. We talked about how important track position is in a race like this tonight, Jeremy. And we're seeing it at the moment with these competitors, with how Taylor has not relinquished too much time here, if anything.
Yeah, Taylor doing a great job here. He's pulled almost 2 seconds ahead of Tim Wortman Jr., who's also doing a great job maintaining his track position here. We saw Tim had some pretty obvious pace back there at the end of that first stage. He was just being very patient with everybody. So flipping that stage now has given him that clean track and track position to really work that car to the best of his abilities, and he's showing that he's got a lot more speed than where he was running.
Yes, indeed. This is why the strategy flip, if you're able to make it work, can work like a charm for some of these drivers. It worked well for Wortman Jr. at times last time out. He finished 3rd after all. Last time out in Chicago. Right now, Holden amongst those who remember led 15 laps at Chicago, ended up finishing 15 laps down from his incidents. And that's the tough thing about Chicago. There was so much attrition for so many fast drivers. A lot of competitors just felt like they had the confidence, and then confidence is gone the second you take a major slide or a spin. There were so many bottlenecks there.
Yeah, always a little bit of chaos on the restarts here, but everybody's gotten single file out here. You see Bikey is pulled off the pit road there on the top right of your screen. Coffee, though, under some threat from Cox here. You got a little wide there. Cox is going to make a dive here to the inside. Coffee's going to be able to defend it, though. A little bit wide again. That's going to give Cox another chance here down into one of our heaviest braking zones. Cox has this position on Coffee. Coffee can't do anything about it at this point.
He can try and get the run instead. Squeeze off going through 7 and through the S's. He nearly turns himself. Now he does get turned. Cox goes off the track with them. They both slide. Coffee moves back on the circuit. Cox spins around. And my oh my.
Cox had the positioning down there in 7. Coffee got really aggressive trying to keep it in the unpreferred line on the outside there. Was not clear of Cox, and they made contact through the S's. Cox was just trying to fight for a position that he earned cleanly on the inside of that 54, and they just ran out of space.
So a massive slide for both of them. That ends up putting Coffee only back to 4th, but losing at least 6 seconds to the leader. Cox gets the worst of it. He ends up well down the running order to 14th position. That major spin for him into the sand trap.
Coffee made a great save to keep that going without losing any more, but definitely probably regretting his decision to fight the 32 so hard when the 32 had the positioning on the inside of the racetrack like that as he turned himself across his nose. But he's going to have to chase Kyle Holden back down now, and this is a good situation for Kyle Holden, even though he lost a little bit of time as well checking up for that incident. He now is in a completely clean space of his own. We saw him as one of the fastest cars that first run, but even more so, this is great news for Tim Wortman Jr. and Jeffrey Taylor out front on the slightly older tires, as they have a really nice gap to deal with now.
There it is right there. 1.7 seconds now to Wortman Jr. Kyle Holden. It's the first out of those who pit during the caution flag period. Right now, that's almost 4 seconds between Taylor and Holden on the racetrack. And Taylor looked pretty quick in final practice, was one of the top drivers in the session. Kind of showing why in his BMP entry here, as some of his teammates are also up there in the top 5 like Rogers.
Yeah, I talked about in the beginning of the show. I thought the 9 had the pace to be competitive here tonight. I just thought he was going to do the opposite of what he did and play the points game, but he actually played the track position game, gambled on himself, and so far it's looking like that was a smart gamble, as he is really paying it off right now. We'll see what he does at the end of this stage. Flipping this stage might be a little bit tougher on the fuel mileage, though, Justin. Some of these guys that don't flip it might be able to try to stretch it to make it to the end on that final stop. If you flip it, I don't really know if you can even consider trying to make it to the end of the race.
Seeing a lot of these competitors just trying to make sure they plot and plan the right strategy at this point. Take a look where Cox now settled in. Nigel Christensen is where he's right behind right now, trying to find a way back there. 26 seconds lost. The race leader from his spin.
Yeah, a lot of time lost for Cox. Oh, Christensen way off in the dirt there. He does a good job keeping it out at the barriers. That's going to allow Cox on back through. Can't imagine the driver at 32 is too happy right now for everything that happened there. I mean, he really did establish his positioning, didn't do anything wrong, just kind of held his car where he was and had the contact with Coffee, and he got the worst end of it. And just nothing he could do about any of this. Like, I mean, he might have been able to back out over the curb, but Coffee kind of forced the issue with him and didn't lift. And now he's all the way back there in P13 trying to fight back forward.
Mentioned things going well for Wortman Jr. here so far this season, for those curious. On the road courses, 3 road course starts coming into the night. It's where his best average finish has gone in from, by the way. 5.7 on the road courses. He's usually in the top 10 on average, around 8th position. Compare that to where he may be on the speedways. On the average, usually the finish is around 9th or so. So 4 positions better in terms of the average finish on a road course compared to the speedways, albeit the speedways has a bigger sample size.
Yeah, bigger sample size and also typically some bigger fields on the speedways as well. As we take a look at an RS Button Box replay here, that's Kevin Ruff in the 14. Just a little bit of an excursion up there in the dirt. Gonna get back on track. No harm, no foul there for that car. Just got to get those tires cleaned back off and he'll be able to continue on his merry way.
Bit of a rough time there for him, but he's able to keep going. Oh, look at this. Holden able to get a run. Able to take second as he moves up the inside. So the 88 taking advantage of Wortman Jr. opening the door to the short chute.
Yeah, we'll see Tim lose a position there, fall back to third. Do want to go back to what we were talking about just before that little moment with Kevin Ruff, though, and want to brag on Tim Wortman Jr. a little bit here. He's been one of those drivers that has not won yet this season, but he's been oh so close so many times, and it's eventually got to come for him. When we've seen some drivers have some stuff go their way, find victory lane. The 83 just hasn't had it all come together yet. See Jeffrey Taylor right now looking to put his name on that list of winners so far tonight, but Tim Wortman Jr. is going to get himself one, and tonight could still be the night. There's a lot of race left for him to find that extra 2 spots from where he's running right now.
Some of the air battles starting to pick up a little bit, including this one. Gallimore losing a stage point for now. That's 10 laps to go in the stage as that moves the 18 rather. Wayne Wilson up. He had more than a minute's worth of pit stop time under the stage caution, mind you. So Wilson, one of the drivers having to bounce back from repairs. In fact, he's the only driver still in the race that had a repair time under the caution period.
Yeah, Wilson did a good job getting caught up to the field and getting in position for the restart. I think he restarted at the back end of our top 20. It looks like he restarted in the 18th position, so he's moved up quite nicely so far this run. Made a lot of passes and kept that car clean, as you see right here. Corey Moore and Tim Harper Jr. battling here. Tim Harper's had a bit of an interesting dilemma of this stage so far. Flipped the stages, and now he's just looking to try to get back forward a little after he put himself in the barrier on the restart.
Indeed. Harper just looking for a decent finish here. The team boss over at Precision expected a lot from Harper after his speed there for, well, making that big mistake for the race lead. That cost him the race. Sanders, meanwhile, may not be as comfortable as at Chicago, but he's still got decent speed here. The boss man for Team Arrow doing a good job.
Yeah, this was last week's winner. He benefited from that mistake from Tim Harper, not a junior, of course. I misspoke there a moment ago, but Tim Harper had that race all but won. As you see up here in front, Alex Coffey's moved back by Tim Wortman Jr. here for that 3rd position. So Coffey trying to climb back forward after his little scuffle with Matt Cox, and Cox still mired back at 13th, has not been able to recover quite as nicely as the 54 has up here.
Yes, indeed. Coffey holding on to 3rd. Still needs to gain 3 seconds to get up to Taylor. Kyle Holden is knocking the time down, by the way. Here's the thing, Jeremy. As of late, he's been getting faster and faster as the run starts to move on. That 88 is reeling on down Taylor here. Last time by, he picked up 0.8 of a second. On the average, he's half a second quicker the past 5 laps. So Holden is coming.
Yeah, this is what we've seen Holden do. When he won at the Daytona Road Course, it was the long run pace. Last week at Chicago, had really good long run pace until he unfortunately wrecked out of that race. And looks like he's doing the same thing again here so far this evening in Sonoma. Just really good in the long runs, and he is chasing down Taylor ridiculously quick. I don't think the 9 is going to be able to do much to defend the sheer difference in pace between those 2 cars at the moment. Almost a second last lap from Taylor to Holden.
He is just mowing the time down here. But will we get there is the huge question. coming up to 5 laps to go in the stage here. There's a look from the straightaway. You can see how much more comfortable he is in the hairpin right now to close up the deficit. That time he closed the deficit down to about a second, put the red box around him because it's now a battle.
Yes, it is. You saw Holden able to wrap it so close to those tire bundles through 11 compared to Taylor up there in front of him. Up here through the uphill. Oh, he is just so much faster through that braking zone. You can see it on... Actually, the ticker didn't really reflect it. It looked a lot more fast than it actually was. A little bit deceiving there, as Taylor's had a pretty good first sector of the racetrack this time throughout the hill. So what I see there is the 9 is really good up the hill, and it looks like he's been getting beat in the downhill portions of the racetrack.
That's seen some big ebbs and flows here in the midst of this fight. Chris Davis, by the way, has towed and has parked it for the night. So another one joins the DNF list. We're down to 17 left in the race here at Sonoma Raceway. Not as bad as Chicago per se in attrition. We are still seeing drivers make mistakes, and they're usually huge mistakes that race enders, and not like a lot of these cars that ended up with damage at Chicago where it was bumping and banging and beating and banging the walls. Right now, these two stay even here. So now we work our way around lap 37.
Great lap out of Taylor that time. Was able to stop that bleeding, but Holden now all of a sudden looking at that ticker has closed it back in up through the uphills. We're looking back here, Kevin Ruff on the inside of Gallimore. Gallimore's going to let him go. Another driver just really wide, letting somebody go in 11, but he gets back to the bottom, getting an okay exit. And you see Matt Cox out there behind him. Up front, though, Barry Sanders working off the back bumper of Sean Rogers. This is for the 5th position as we approach the end of his stage. Sanders looking a little bit quicker than the 44 right now, but nowhere to go as of right now.
See him just lock stamp right now, right behind Rogers. No place to be able to send it, nothing to do except keep on pacing, maintain good stage points, go from there. Right now, Taylor looking to secure the stage victory, but Holden looking to have something to say about it. After looking to be one of the dominant drivers at Chicago, didn't have to finish to back up the speed. Showcase from Holden. Now it's the matter of, can he get there before the stage ends? Will Taylor be able to strip it on away? Less than 3 laps to go.
Definitely still a little bit quicker than the 9 out in front of him, but the 9's done a good job equalizing that pace just enough to possibly have a chance of holding off this position. This is the closest Holden's gotten, flirting with the 7/10 to 6/10 range right now. We'll see if he can get it even closer as this lap continues on, maybe down to half a second by the end of it, have a real shot at mounting a charge with that 9 car.
Just trying to be able to get him on the prowl here. Down under 6/10. Timothy Harper, as expected, flipping the stage, by the way. Just came down pit road. So pit road is open for those attempting to flip the stage. Will anybody else duck down this time? Will Taylor go for the stage points or try and battle it out for the win here for the long term? The answer is he's going to try and go for the stage. Looks like he's staying out here. Holden within 3 car lengths through the turn, through the hairpin.
Yeah, Holden's closing in that gap even more. Dirty air is going to become a bit of a factor here, though, as he gets closer to that 9. Might be able to help Jeffrey Taylor hold this position a little bit stronger for himself. As he said, 2 more on the stage here, though. Holden's so close now, can almost get to that back bumper in the next set of corners. Wasn't able to quite hold that gap on exit, but definitely a bit of an inroads again. I think Holden's got a real shot at it here. He's just a little bit faster, and this is a track that is going to reward that speed with the passing zones.
It's a matter of seeing, will there be a pass? Matt Cox, interesting enough, just came down pit road. Not sure if that's going to be a penalty or not, as this was well after the drivers took 2 laps to go in the stage here. Holden Matching lines, going a little bit deeper than the 9. The swerve out for Taylor, and he is pitting. Oh, and he crashed into the wall. Taylor crashed on the pit entry. So he pits with less than 2 laps to go and gives the lead to Holden.
I'm a little confused here, Justin. I thought throughout most of the season we've closed the pit lane entrance with 2 to go. At the end of the stage, you see that contact with the inside and outside wall from the 9. Don't know if he got away with that without any damage, but could have taken the 10 points. Would have been huge from the playoffs. Aaron Matthews not here tonight, so he will actually jump into the playoffs no matter what, but still fighting Gallimore as well, as you never know if there could be a winner on the outside. That could be just as important as the Aaron Matthews position for him, but he's risking the stop again here at the end of the stage. He's really going to try to win this race.
Yeah, I am not sure about that one. So,
sorry to interrupt here. It is worth noting that we saw this in the first stage as well. They didn't close pit road, and some guys did come in after what would normally be when they close pit road. So I don't know if there was a change made for tonight or just something's going on, but drivers getting away with pit stops here as we come to the end of the stage.
So Kyle Holden, in a bit of a confusing end here, will get the stage win. Get that stage win by more than 2 seconds. Green-white checkered, Kyle Holden. That's his first lead laps on the night. Result, Coffey in second. Ortman Jr., Rogers, Sanders, the top 5. With Wyatt in 6th. Corey Moore in 7th. Wayne Wilson in 8th. That's followed by Kevin Ruff and Paul Gallimore, who look to round out this stage in your top 10. So they'll complete the stage right here. And the yellow flag comes out for stage 2. We'll take a step aside here on that note. When we come back, more action. You're watching Ball on TV from Sonoma Raceway. The Victory Designs 250 continues after this.
Round quick enough.
Welcome back, everyone, to tonight's coverage of the OB Builders Cup Series. More coverage of the Victory Designs 250 as we have 35 laps to go in the race. We get back going here. We're racing a lap 79 to determine who gets the job done. Taylor does start up front here. Timothy Harper was not far enough through the field to pass some of the cars who pit under the caution flag. So Harper, despite trying to flip the stage, will start in the 4th position. But bad news for Captain Ruff. He just had technical issues, so he's now out of the race. Coming up to the Simrat Market restart zone. Remember, Taylor went in the middle of this exit of the hairpin, and Holden just spun the tires. Holden with problems. Green flag is out, back of the way. The 88 has a problem.
Holden got completely stuck in the wall. Many drivers are going to be black flagged from that. They're going to have to clear those for those drivers. It looks like, I mean, they did nothing wrong. Holden just made a mistake on the stern, got stuck in the fence, but I look how far back this sent him, Justin. Kyle Holden, for all intents and purposes, out of the race at this point, for the win anyways.
13th position after being a contender all run long. Let's take a look at this. And it's going to be behind the garage. Try and get an arrow look here as the 88 ends up going the wrong way on the pylon after having contention speed right there, spins the tires. And that's the top of the, trouble in live action. The leader, Taylor, just over around the corner of the S's and just gave it a coffee.
Yeah, a little bit earlier than that as well. Unfortunately, Barry Sanders, who had to clear those black flags, ended up spinning himself trying to clear them. And they're side by side up here for Harper and Taylor's for the 2nd place position. And Wortman's going to try to follow him through on Jeffrey Taylor. This will be for P3. Taylor's going to hold off that position for now, though. Taylor not able to maintain the lead like he did in the 2nd stage with flipping it this run.
And Holden's come on in. Now Taylor's burning the tires up. So situation for the 88 machine. Taylor burning up all the Goodyear Eagle temperatures in his tires. He's not looking comfortable at all in that Beast Mode Performance machine after looking so comfortable all stage 2. Now he's got Shane Wyatt and Sean Rogers looking to make some moves for position.
Yeah, it's pretty aggressive driving there by all of the drivers involved here. I guess Shane Wyatt kind of just pulled into his position, but saw some contact almost between the 9 and the 44. 9 still fighting really hard with Shane Wyatt here. He's going to try to pull the same move we saw Coffey spin himself earlier, but Taylor's able to get in front of that 23. He'll maintain 7th and 4th. This is what I've been talking about earlier, Justin. I think the 9 should have went for the stage points tonight. I think he'd be running about where he is right now anyways, and he'd have that points to lean on. Now he's put himself back to 4th. No stage points so far tonight, and not looking like he's in a position to have a chance to win. As Sean Rogers looking to be inside of Shane Wyatt. That's going to stick with a little bit of lockup for him, though, and he'll move on to the inside of the 9 now.
Couldn't get to stay there to the inside. Now, that we'll see how things go here. Not the greatest starts at all for the 9 machine. 5 seconds lost to the leader, and he's still making more mistakes. There's a bit of battling going on up the road. Wortman Jr. and Harper starting to have some sparring as well. Harper lost a lot of ground, asked on the radio, are we racing? Well, we're racing. We're definitely racing.
Yeah, it almost felt like we're back in Chicago there for a lap or so. A lot of chaos across the entire racetrack. Looks like drivers are now starting to settle into where they are on the track and get these runs going for themselves, as we're going to feel spread out a little bit. But Alex Coffey has pulled a 2.5 second lead over Tim Wortman Jr. in P2.
And now we take a look here. Some of the dig cars battle it out. Wilson falls behind Wyatt, wide off the racetrack. Doors open in the hairpin. Door taken, and car sent. So Blaine Wilson up to about as high as he's been tonight, 6th position, as he moves his way forward.
Yeah, pretty good night for Wilson. He restarted that second stage all the way in the back of the field, and he's climbed his way all the way back to 6th. A great recovery drive by him. He's found some good pace out of that machine, and he'll set his sights forward on this car. But 44, Sean Rogers, who has dropped a little bit back off tonight, and Jeffrey Taylor, those two have settled down their battle between one another.
Everyone just trying to settle in. And in real life, the fuel mileage went to about the length of the stage just about here, Jeremy, if not close to it. Are these drivers going to have to stop here in the stage, in your opinion, or can they just drive to the end?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident they wouldn't have flipped it if they didn't think they could make it, and those who stopped under yellow could. So I think we should all be good on fuel here and racing to the end. That or we're all short, but I'm pretty certain they can all make it to the end of the race here.
That's what I figured. Just wanted to ask, just to clarify, make sure. A bit of some tire spin, smoke up as Taylor and Rogers getting a little bit close. Timothy Harper in front of them right now, but this has been a disastrous start to the stage for Taylor. Looked to be, oh, we have a car stopped in the gravel trap. Cabin Ruff is just sitting down and watching everybody having a picnic.
Kevin Ruff returned to the session from his connectivity issues, and then having some more issues on the track here as you'll take a look at our RS button boxes replay. Just got up there off into the grass, and I think he chose to stop it to let the field on back by before he pulled out here, and just waiting for everybody to get by as his race was already ruined by his internet connection problems, unfortunately for him.
Just parked it down, and from there, just sitting there and waiting. Now, how are things going for some of the other battling? Taylor's now lost spot to Rogers. And now, he's got a whole queue of cars looking to line up. Wilson, Wyatt, Cox, all in the choo-choo train, ready to join in here.
Yeah, just don't quite know where the pace from that 9 went. Maybe there is some damage that we can't quite see from when he hit the wall entering pit road, but I thought that car looked mostly clean, but something just not firing on all cylinders for the 9 in this run, as he has shown well more pace than this all evening.
Yeah, this is, for him, not the greatest of runs. Wyatt working his way around to the inside, trying to pass a teammate, gets it done cleanly. One crossover back. Wilson parks it, able to get the switch over for the chute. Now they work with Wilson, able to hold on to the edge. Wyatt had to try something there.
Yeah, good move by Wyatt, trying to make that happen. Wasn't quite able to get it done, though. It was an even better defensive drive by Wilson. You see off the back, though, the 23 and 32 of Matt Cox climbing his way back forward after his issue with Alex Coffey earlier on in this event. Not realistically looking to win the race at this point. He's so far back from the lead, but he's trying to salvage whatever he can on his finish. Going to take a big lunge at the inside of the 23 here. Going to get given some room by Shane Wyatt. No contest there. 32 is going to be side by side with him on exit, though. Wyatt will see if he can fight him back up the hill.
And it looks like Cox is going to win that battle. Able to slide his way around the outside of the BMP entry. Now looks to set his sights on being able to pick back up the top 6. Well, Gallimore has been running about 10th this entire race. Trying not to fall into his car number. Barry Sanders is the one trying to recover here from a not good start to this sequence after being in the back for the restart.
Yeah, it was an unfortunate situation for Sanders. He had the onus on him to clear the black flags for those drivers that were unfortunately given those by iRacing with the issues Kyle Holden had. He spun himself up the hill in 3 trying to clear them, and he's had to claw his way back to this position trying to crack his way back into the top 10. He would be running significantly better right now had that not happened, and it's quite unfortunate for him as he's the only driver in the field that really has to deal with those incidents, Justin, and trying to get those cleared, and it's just so difficult to do that at a road course while you're driving this car.
Yes, indeed. Bossman doing what he does best, drive and race. Meanwhile, Timothy Harper, despite his mistakes earlier on the restart in stage 2, still looking like a solid day today. I know he's streaming his perspectives here tonight once again, but so far, the purple car has survived without any major damage. Oh, and just as I say that, they burn up the tires.
Yeah, a little bit of a jinx there on your part. He's actually been sliding backwards here. He was on the back bumper of Wortman earlier. He's all the way back to 5th here, and I think what we saw there is probably why it looks like the rears are quite unhappy on the 42 at the moment, and Tim Harper Jr. trying to do what he can to hold on to it. You see side by side back here. Gallimore's going to concede that position to Barry Sanders. Sanders back in the top 10 after his issues. Good to see that out of him. At least he can salvage an okay finish out of this run.
Good spot pickup, good position. And now they continue on battling as, by the way, Timothy Harper in the air battle has gone the wrong way where he pushed off the racetrack too in this section right here. He's now been passed by 2 cars as a result of his mistakes. So Harper, well, there's nothing you can do except try and settle down because you have to go all the way to the end on the mileage here. This set of tires likely, as we talked about. 27 laps to go coming to 26.
I'm not sure if there's anybody who wants to get back to the ovals more than Tim Harper right now. Obviously had the win basically in his pocket, and he grabs defeat from the jaws of victory as he just wrecked himself, hitting a barrier with about a 2-second lead, and now tonight just going backwards here on this run, not working out the way that 42 wanted. He'll be looking forward to Dover, I expect.
So swapping once again, Taylor rejoins the 3rd position. Rogers now getting pressurized by Wilson. This has been a great stint for Wilson so far. He's been running decent pace in the 116 flats. That average has been slower than some of the yards around him, but Wilson has had the speed to actually make these passes. The tough thing is, he's also got Matt Cox, who's even faster. Inside for the 32. 32 of Cox takes the send.
Gonna stay side by side from now here down the front stretch. Looks like Wilson's gonna actually clear. I heard Cox say go ahead, letting him back in front there. I'm not sure if Cox felt he did something wrong there and wanted to give the 18 back that position, but a little bit of contact in 11 might have been what led to that. And they lost some ground to the car in front though, battling side by side. They're gonna have to regroup and try to chase back down Sean Rogers in the 44.
Yes, indeed. Try to regain that ground right now. Do it pretty quickly. We know that Cox has top 3 speed on the road courses. It's just been about the track position from some of the slides earlier on. A great recovery from him. Downside is he's 16 seconds back of the leader. And some of these drivers in this pack have already fallen back as much as 12 seconds to what Alex Coffey's been able to do. Speaking of Coffey, Coffey's been a rocket ship this run, wouldn't you say? 5 seconds nearly up over Wortman Jr. this run.
Yeah, Coffey just needs to really not beat himself at this point. He's got nothing to worry about out back. He's just got to hit his marks, drive nice and smooth right now, and keep all 4 tires on the racetrack right now, and you'll be looking good, Alex.
Survival of the fittest. And right now, Coffey's looking like the fittest around this racetrack. Cox trying to keep himself fit here. So what at this point can you do to make some of these passes? We've seen how difficult it's been to make some of these moves tonight. What would you be doing at this point of the race to try and make moves?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing you can really do more than what he's been doing is be aggressive, but I think he's already had a frustrating evening, and he's taking a peek at Wilson here, and Wilson's not going to pinch him too hard there, but Cox is going to back out of it again. I think Cox is really just trying to be respectful of his competitors at this point. He's already had the incident, doesn't want to have any more issues, doesn't want to make anybody mad at him, as he's probably already pretty mad at another driver here tonight, and working off the back of the 18, he's just going to wait for it to present itself as an opportunity to make that pass. But you can see out in front of him, Sean Rogers stretched his way ahead of this battle between these two.
Yes, indeed. They have grown the gap now by almost 3 seconds, actually, on the margin. That's just on natural pace that's now been able to settle on in here. They keep on buzzing along. So right now the 32, making it clear they want to pressurize mistakes here with some of these sends into the corner. There's a look at everybody going up the hillside. You can see just how much elevation changes around here at Sonoma.
Yeah, this is the highest point of the track, and from that view you can see all the way down to 11, the lowest. There's going to be the move for Cox. The 18 of Wilson lets him on through, but Cox locked up, which is going to put Wilson back to the inside and back ahead of him. Unfortunate there for the 32, but he's looking back to be inside again here. He's driver switch back. This time Cox will get it done. He's got the position over Blaine Wilson.
Took a couple major lunges there, but it's Cox able to hold on to the top 5. Leapfrog a couple times over to get himself through. So Matt Cox leapfrogging a couple times over here as they stay in the choo-choo train and work together. Now Wyatt, he's taking some moves to the inside. Gonna get it a plant though. Wyatt doing a solid job in this race here tonight. Just trying to figure out a way around. Wyatt was a DNF in Chicago, second to last time out.
Yeah, definitely a much better run out of him. He had some pace in Chicago, just made the mistakes. You see there on the back of that train, Barry Sanders has caught this entire group, so a really good recovery from him. Had to imagine where he'd be running right now if he didn't have that incident on the restart. But he's going to be looking to be inside Corey Moore here, as he's been told to take it, possibly. Maybe not, might have been hearing something else there, but Sanders has chased down this entire group now. Yeah, so Moore did tell him to go, letting him on by. That'll put Sanders up to 9th, and that's 5th up there in front of him. You can see up there with Matt Cox, so still a chance for the top 5 for the 81.
Able to keep going, making some inroads here in the battle for 6th. A lot of curbing being taken by Harper in this run. 22 laps to go, so we're getting almost to that point. We have the run length of how the stages went earlier tonight to go to be able to close out this race. Seems like it's taken a very calm turn here, where it's just the drivers racing the track more than anything else, Jeremy.
Yeah, really just racing the track at this point for sure. You see on the bottom right of our screen here, most positions gained. Tim Wortman Jr. in P2 plus 11, Jose Medina plus 8, having a good night in his 48 machine up to 13th as well, but just really impressive from Tim Wortman Jr. Track's been hard to pass all night long. He's played the strategy really well, had some real pace in that 83, and he's in second by quite a bit. He's just as far ahead as third as he is behind Coffey right now, so just on his own, just racing the racetrack like we said.
Take a look at Sanders. Once again, he's now made his way back to 9th. And Sanders is a trooper when it comes to his pace, to say the very least. Able to just keep on surviving. We know he had the race admin controls coming to play, which seen him lose the track position. Doing a solid job recovering those positions here to be able to have a solid points day after the win last week.
Yeah, done a great job recovering, and earning the points that he can out of this race. Not as important of a driver of the 81 as they were before that win a week ago, but points still matter to all these drivers, so he'll be trying to get what he can. You see Tim Harper up there in the 42. This is one of our drivers that is ineligible for the playoffs in this series, just based off the participation and joining the season a little bit later than some of our other competitors. And Harper's been a real fast driver, shown flashes, probably should have a win right now, but just hasn't been able to get it done in that 42. But that's all he's here to do, Justin. He's here to race for wins. That's why he's flipping stages every week. And in front of him, Shane White, another point stay out of the 23. Good recovery after a poor run last week.
Absolutely agree with you on that. 20 to go at the stripe, by the way. So we keep on marching our way through. Still less than 30 minutes of racing to go here from Sonoma Raceway. Wayne Wilson, by the way, was amongst those 7 laps down last time in the field. He's been pushing, shoving, battling. Now he's getting leaned on by Wyatt. Still getting the power down yet again. Still holding on in the battle. Wilson just does not quit in any of these fights.
Yeah, some pretty hard battling between these two dig cars with precision, speed solution, motors under the hoods of them. We saw Harper spinning off an 11 and number 1 of those cars behind all of this, but really good battle between these two right now for the 6th position. Wilson wants to hold on to that. Wilson's done a great job getting himself back up here after the issues he had earlier, so may not be the biggest mover in terms of where he started, but he's probably passed the most cars so far tonight, and he's looking to hold on to this position that he's worked so hard to get.
How are things going right now for Cox again? Well, right now Cox is running 1:15.6s. The average pace still in the 1:16s to pass 5, but that average pace does put him miles ahead of everybody else. He's almost gone into no man's land here, Jeremy.
Yeah, he's another one of those drivers kind of just out here doing his own thing right now, so you see that throughout a lot of the field at this point, gotten quite a bit of separation. Coffey has pulled so far out front, almost 7.5 seconds ahead of Tim Wortman Jr. in the lead right now, but Matt Cox has been pretty close to our leader's lap times. He just had the incident with our leader earlier in the show, and that's what took him out of contention to win this race.
Yeah, you see that interval difference and speed difference between him and Coffey right now. Coffey still running 1:15.2s up front. Rogers still keeping up with his teammate, by the way. On his way to our top 5 run this season. Sean Rogers had decent speed before his incidents last time out, but prior to that, had a good race at Nashville where he was top 5, finished second at Charlotte in one of the races there on the 21st, once the All-Star. Bristol was a top 5 run back in April as well as Darlington. So Rogers has had flashes, but as of late, he's also had those mixed in with crashes that have put him down the pylon.
Yeah, he's really struggled to finish races over the summer stretch so far, as we'll take a look at an RS Button Boxes replay here. Looking back at Tim Harper fighting off Barry Sanders in the 81. Oh, Barry got in there hot and just got in the 42 and sent him around. Harper was able to get back going once he found an opening, keep that car pointed in the right direction, no damage, just another loss of track position for 42.
That cost them both a little bit of time there after the lockup. Lap car behind will not be a factor for position. Harper still in the top 10, but we're talking about the difficulties for the 44 to finish races. How demoralizing, or how much does that impact your confidence when you have speed, you've been able to put a car in the top 5, but have been able to survive to keep it in the top 5?
Yeah, I mean, racing is really, really a weird mental game, because you can come out here like Coffey this week, for an example, and dominate a race. And you can go out next week and get your ass kicked. And you don't really know what you did different or what you did wrong. And You go from on top of the world to underneath the mountain pretty quickly in this sport, and Rogers right now looking to build some of that momentum back forward, push that ball up the hill just a little bit. A good finish tonight can definitely help with that, but you got to start finishing races as we get closer and closer to the playoffs. You don't want to put yourself in a bad headspace going into those races where it starts to mean just a little bit more for these drivers, and where the wrecks are going to be even more harmful to your season in those 3 race rounds.
Now, seeing Taylor, by the way, also in this battle box. If Taylor didn't make those mistakes early, it might be talking about a much different race here, because he's running the same pace as Alex Coffey as well right now. If we were talking about this, if he didn't have as poor of a run as he did to start off this race for stage 3, where he went off on the S's, and having off tracks like this to open up the door for Rogers, we might be talking about Taylor holding off Coffey right now.
Yeah, I think the pressure just got to the driver tonight a little bit. I think he was outside of the playoffs coming in. He saw Barry Sanders win and lock himself in last week. Probably wanted to do the same really badly tonight, and just overstepped it a little bit at the beginning of this run, made some mistakes, but he's still going to get out of here with a good finish, an okay points day. Probably could have been better on the points day, but he went aggressive trying to get the win, and I can't fault him for trying. It's just unfortunate that it didn't work out for him to have a shot at it at this point in the running.
See the biggest mover, still Wortman Jr. Still holding on to second. Another decent points haul coming up for the 83. Right now, I don't think the win is on the mind, obviously, unless Coffey makes some major mistakes here, but it's still going to be a podium. It's still going to be a decent finish. It's still going to be something to put the cap on after the rest of the Warrior cars have struggled tonight.
Yeah, definitely a good run for him, good momentum moving forward. I really would like to see Tim win a race. He's been so close to it all season long. Just one of those guys that I think deserves it, and he's been so close. Talked about it a little bit earlier in the show. Number P2 so far here tonight, and I can tell you, when you don't have that win, second hurts a lot more than anywhere else in the running order.
Really does, and it can impact you mentally, and in terms of having those types of runs and just the execution area. But still got less than 15 laps just to be able to take the checker flag here. Most of the field has separated out, by the way, by more than a second per car. So it's become a very calm one for Coffey. Alex Coffey talked about having chances to win multiple times on the road courses as of late. Tonight, chance to add himself a third win sticker. That would put him in a tie with Bikey and Shane Davis for the most wins this season in the series.
Yeah, that would be really important for the playoff points with those wins associated to them. So Coffey looking to pick up those, as Harper just had another excursion off the racetrack. This has been a really rough final stage for him. Paul Gallimore is going to get by that 42 now for that top 10 position back there. So 42 continuing to fall backwards with some issues, as he is just hoping to run these last 14 laps and get out of here.
See what you're referring to on the RS Battle Box's replay. Seemed like an issue. There it goes. Did he just hit the curbing or just get light on him?
Yeah, he got into the curb in there and probably got too much throttle on it. His rears have just been struggling so badly that he's not catching it at this point. So another unfortunate moment for the 42, and he just continues the no good, very bad day that he's been having.
No good, horrible ending to this run. He's now outside the top 10. Passed by Paul Gallimore. That's how much his tires have gone off on the car. So, we'll see what happens. Now, What's going on here? Barry Sanders has moved his way up to 7th in all this. Sanders just slowly, methodically moving ahead here in this pack. You know who's also trying to move up? Kyle Holden, but the downside is he spent almost 4 minutes down pit road. It could have been a much different race for the 88 if he didn't have that issue off the restart.
Yeah, he just had a little bit of contact when he was trying to get up through the gears and set him into that inside wall. I don't know if there was really much he could have done differently. As you see back here, Harper and Gallimore side by side. That'll put Harper back into the top 10 right now and trying to move back forward after his issues. So, okay, move there from the 42, picks up that spot on Gallimore. He just needs to stop making mistakes and he'll finish here, hopefully. And we'll see if Tim can stop and he hits the inside wall and the outside wall, just as I say that. Very Carson Hocevar-esque out of the 42 so far this evening.
Funnily enough, Hocevar drove the 42 car for a little bit before getting the 77 where I remember. Before the switch over to Toyota for the drivers at Legacy. Also taking a look right now at Corey Moore. Moore's just quietly been there. What else can you say? He's existed in this field. He's just been driving. He's just been racing. He's got no damage. He's been there.
Yeah, good day for Corey Moore. Quiet days are good days at the road courses for some of these guys, and Corey Moore is one of those guys that he'll tell you a quiet day is a good day. So I think he's happy with this, and you know, a big thing too, and this is something for me personally as a road racer. When I can see over cars most of the race, I feel a lot better with myself, and I think Corey Moore has seen over cars the entire race. So he's been in a group of people, and that always makes you feel a little better. You're not on your own out there, and that can kind of help you just keep chugging along forward in a long race like this.
Yes, indeed. Gallimore now riding on behind Timothy Harper. Harper has taken over that spot again. Tonight's type of run here for Gallimore. Talked about the point swings in terms of the playoff standings. Right now, Gallimore, as it runs, would lose a lot of ground here to Jeffrey Taylor. Taylor is in a good spot tonight to move on ahead of him in these standings, if not close. Remember, Taylor hasn't gone for the stage wins, but he has scored stage points.
Yeah, it could have been even better for Jeffrey Taylor, though, for sure. And that's what I was kind of hitting on the beginning of the show. I really think the right call for the 9 tonight would have been to go for those points, but I really won't fault him for gambling on himself. He thought he could win the race. I think he had the pace where he could have if it went right for him. He just made mistakes in this final stage and has ended up running where I think he would have ran if he took those stage points. So it's going to be one of those things where he might be, in hindsight, regretting that decision when the night's over, but I think it was worth the risk in the moment.
Mind you, this is your closest battle of the racetrack right now, are these two from Dig. Wide and Moore. We're coming up to 10 laps to go here. Already more than 30 seconds behind your race leader in terms of where the speed's at for these two. Right now, just you can tell some of these drivers are dealing with the fatigue. It's been a long race for these competitors, almost 2 hours.
Yeah, pretty significantly long road race, honestly. I was kind of thinking that to myself just a moment or two ago here, going a little bit longer into a road race than I feel normal, but it's been a good one for sure as they're side by side here for this position. There's Corey Moore making a pass on Shane Wyatt in the 23. Wyatt's gonna, close on the left rear there, but he'll slide in behind the 19 there up the hill, and that's Corey Moore in the P8, but Wyatt's not done yet, trying to make a charge back at the 19 here.
Tried it, but now Moore runs away. Wyatt had left the door wide open to be able to make that send right there. Now Moore looks to run. The next pack is 3 seconds up the road. Talking about coffee again. That lead, almost 14 seconds now. Only less than a second of fall off. And this is a package where we're expecting a bit more fall off. We've seen a lot of fall off at Chicago. Not as bad as some may have expected here for the best of the best. Some people have fallen off 2 seconds, Jeremy. Coffee, running pro style, temperature wear, and tire wear, not even falling off 1 second.
Yeah, Coffee's got a really, really good setup, and that machine clearly hangs on very well in the long run. Class of the field right now. I wonder what Holden could have done, but Coffee's looking stronger than I think anybody has looked at any point in the race so far this run, so I don't know how much Holden had for him, but it would have been interesting for sure. But I gotta wonder, Justin, at this point, I wonder if Alex Coffee's starting to get bored behind this wheel of that 54. He's just got nothing to do right now other than cruise to the finish.
You're able to ride the blimp at this point all the way to the checker flag, but the problem is still 8 more laps to be able to complete this race. Coffee just needing to survive, and more survive. We'll have lap traffic of Nigel Christensen up the road. The next year's car is Paul Gallimore, who is a ways up the racetrack by at least 9 more seconds. So as Coffee continues to march around, Sanders has closed up to 6th, by the way. That's on the other side of the racetrack right now. Sanders within 4 or 5 car lengths of being able to get to Wilson. He is gaining every braking zone.
Yeah, Sanders been working, trying to pick up all that track position for himself. This will be the last car that's realistically obtainable, barring something happening to one of the competitors further up. As you can see on the intervals on the left side of your screen, the next car 10 seconds ahead of Blaine Wilson with Matt Cox, who has driven away from this group after he struggled to pass at 18. We've seen the 18 be really, really strong defensively all night, so this won't be an easy pass for Barry Sanders.
Carrying the Team Arrow flag, as some people said tonight. Been able to keep it clean all night. Do have lap traffic battling ahead. Johnny Shade, we haven't mentioned that name really all night, letting by everybody on the other laps, just trying to keep it clean in the dig entry.
Yeah, Shade's falling a lap off our leader here. Sorry about that, Justin. Just doing some housekeeping here. Shade is falling a lap off our leader along with Medina. Those two 13th, 14th, only cars 1 lap down right now. And then, like you said earlier, Nigel Christensen will be next in line to get lapped.
Here comes Ascend up the inside. Wilson leaves the door open. Will Sanders be able to jump through it? The answer right now is no. He tried it without majorly sending it, but Sanders is quicker right now.
See some really good pace out of the 81, but the 18's just been so good defending all night long, so should be getting some nice entertaining battle out of this one. Wilson's probably frustrated quite a few drivers so far this evening, but he's not doing anything dirty. He's just really, really good defensively and making it very hard for these drivers to complete these passes.
Yes, just can't make the run. Is taking the attempts though, just trying to ride, and more ride until the door opens up again. This is your closest battle on the racetrack, by the way. Coming around 6 laps to go for much of the field.
Not a lot of time left for Sanders to make this pass on Wilson. He'll get a few more attempts for each of these passing zones, but Wilson's done such a good job holding it so far that time is starting to tick down on that 81 machine, trying to pick up the spot.
Not close enough for it to try and take a lunge like the previous lap. He is sending it pretty aggressively into 2. Wilson able to make it stay where it needs to stay. Sanders sent a whole head of steam up there.
Definitely better under the brakes right now. That 81 machine able to get further into these corners, but Wilson just stretches it out on the exits every once in a while here. And what I'm noticing, and I think this is what's made Wilson so hard to pass all night, is he is really good in the corners leading up to the passing zones and is able to get just far enough ahead of the car behind him before those heavy braking spots.
Viewers, we just received word that our producer tonight is currently experiencing severe thunderstorms in the area they're currently residing in. So if we lose power, we'll be back as soon as we can if that does end up happening. So just a heads up, there are potential storms that could become a factor for our broadcast coverage here from Sonoma. Drivers down to less than 5 laps to go. Harper, yet again, wanting to battle with Gallimore. These two just keep on trading this 10th spot.
Yeah, I don't know if this is what Coffee wants to be seen in front of him with all the issues we've seen out of the 42 of Tim Harper. A little bit probably nerve-wracking for Coffee. Coffee's got a 15-second lead, though, so he can maybe mind his gap a little bit until these two settle it out between themselves, because I don't know if I would trust Tim Harper right now not to make a mistake in front of me, but you know, a little joking aside here, Tim's a good driver. He's not going to cause any issues for Alex on purpose, obviously. Getting back by Paul Gallimore here, but definitely not the best sight as the leader to have these two racing side by side in front of you.
There's a lot of time picked up by Coffee as of late. That was at least 13 seconds difference between them and the next lapper. Kind of showcases how hard Coffee is pushing here to just decimate the field in terms of the interval. See how efficiently things go. Another mistake in front for Harper. Kicks up a lot of marbles. Unlike real life, these drivers don't have the windshield wipers to be able to wipe things down here, as Gallimore will wipe himself to the left side of the racetrack and let on by the leader.
Just going to be Tim Harper out the windshield now, 4 of a 54, looking out the glass. He sees that car. Just going to try to keep tabs on where the 42 is maybe slipping and sliding a little bit. Just keep that in your mind, not to be close to him in those spots, and just hope Tim works with you here and lets you by. You don't want to be messing with him for too long right now. Not an issue with the gap, you just don't want to risk the crash. And it looks like Tim will let him by down here in 11.
That's a run through, no issue. That leaves us with about 3 laps to work with here. Coming up. 3 more times around here at Sonoma. Take a look at some of the others as Sean Rogers all of a sudden has been able to get pretty close to Tim Wortman Jr. A lot of time lost last time by for the 83. Now, time's falling off a cliff here for Wortman Jr. on 1:17 last time by.
Tires must be pretty gone on the 83. That, or maybe I do question possibly short on fuel saving. Not sure what it would be. He was one of the drivers that we've seen flip the stages and more aggressive on the strategy, so might not have as much fuel as his competitors around him, but definitely struggling a little bit on the pace right now in the 83. As we'll see if he can hold off the 44 and even the 9 behind him.
Try and take a different line here for the cut to go up to the S's. Down the hillside they now rumble. Coming to 2 laps to go for these drivers. Rogers quicker this time through this section. A lot of people made mistakes here. Wortman Jr. makes one now. Here we go for second. Rogers sends it deep up the inside. Takes it away. Sean Rogers to second as Christensen moves to Gilligan's Island.
Yeah, Wortman is just looking extremely tight in the right-handers right now. I think the left front tire must be cooked on the 83 machine, and that's where Rogers is able to capitalize, setting up through the turn 10 down to turn 11, gets inside of the 83 and now has that position, but Wortman's still trying to keep tabs on the 44, see if he can mount charge back, but he's struggling to do so.
All sorts of strategy for some of these drivers breaking out, and now for Coffee about seeing if he can make it stick to the racetrack for another lap and a third. 55 laps led so far here tonight. Again, he'll have 57. There's no one around him for days. Just him and clean track to come up to the white flag this time by. Brought to you by League Gaming. 1 to go at Sonoma.
This should be the easiest lap of the night for for Alex Coffey here. Just nothing to push for with Sean Rogers, 18 seconds behind. Just going to be looking to keep his car pointed in the right direction. Talked about it earlier, he just needed not to beat himself tonight, and he's managed to do that here, and I don't think there's any reason that he'll push and make a mistake here.
Drop it.
We apologize for the difficulties there. As we noted, there was potential of a power outage. Well, that power outage did happen. We can tell you Alex Coffey did come away with the race victory over Sean Rogers and Tim Wortman Jr. 22 seconds was the difference between first and third in the race. Jeffrey Taylor finished in fourth with Matt Cox in fifth. Barry Sanders, Blaine Wilson, Corey Moore, Shane White, and Timothy Harper were the top 10. Paul Gallimore finished in 11th, Nigel Christensen in 12th. Jose Medina finished in front of Johnny Shea, Gavin Ruff, Kyle Holden, and Chris Davis. Mikey, Norfray, Ryan, Huff, Justin Belmonte, and Nick King were your starters tonight from Sonoma Raceway. So we do have your top three standing on by. Alex Coffey coming away with the win, tying the season lead in wins with 3. Alex, how does it feel to get the job done on a road course tonight?
Like hell, but that's my favorite road course by far, so I'm glad we could at least bring that one home in one piece. The other road courses ain't been too nice to me.
What was so different about this third and final stage where you ran away compared to the others where it wasn't such a big interval, and also you didn't even lead most of stage 2?
Yeah, I had to start further back in stage 2, and then that spin through the grass and the S's put me behind the 8 ball on that, but mainly those other ones were just short stages, so I was kind of just blowing the tires off of it, getting all I could get, and I knew this one we'd have to save a little bit and have some for the final 20 laps, so kind of just paced this one and was able to keep the tires under me better than the other two.
So how do you feel about Dover next week?
Probably one of my least favorite ovals, but it's any oval is probably better than a road course to me, so I'm happy to be back at the ovals next week. Hopefully we can be talking to you again there. Hello?
Well, thank you, Alex. I'm pick up here. Sorry, I'm having some technical issues just on the other end. Good win tonight, and we'll see you in Dover, right, Alex?
Gotcha. Real quick, I'll shout out
Oh, you,
to Van Louis Stickers, Precision Speed Solutions. Big shout out to Alex Murray over there that builds our sets. He puts a lot of time and hard work into them. Small shop, so he's carrying a lot of the load for that. And shout out to Pay RVA, Carpy's Print Company, Off Axis Paint, Crazy Chucks, Purple Jesus Moonshine, Simrap Market, Tilly's Corridor, and League Gaming. And I'll donate my win, or not donate my win, but this win's for Jeremy, the announcer. I know he's a huge Ty Gibbs fan, so we'll leave him with that.
I had a nice little comment for you on the broadcast that if you go back and watch, you'll find. So, but good job tonight, Alex.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
All right. Now joining me up here is going to be Sean Rogers, our second place finisher tonight. Sean, it was a good run out of you tonight. I know 19 seconds off the leader, probably not exactly what you wanted, but you definitely were one of the best cars out there tonight. And when you had the track position, you were able to show that, getting through, making passes. How was your evening out there in the 44?
And that's a long race. It's brutal. Sonoma really doesn't offer any. There's no long straights. Even the front stretch has turns in it, so you're constantly on the wheel, constantly all over the gearbox. So it was tough. I definitely lost 5 pounds or so during that one, but had a fast car. Yeah, obviously I didn't have anything for coffee there, but it was nice to come home second.
Yeah, definitely feel you there. Having raced here, I know we've raced together in the past. Always fun out there, hard working on the wheel. What exactly about this track? I know you mentioned all the corners making it so difficult in the gearboxes. Do you think the elevation change as well makes it a little bit harder on you, just working through all the forced feedback over the rumble strips and being so aggressive through the gearboxes as well?
Yeah, coming up the hill when you're cresting, you gotta play with the throttle because you're getting real light. But it does help with some of the elevation chain. There's a nice little hill going into turn 11 that if you start braking on that, it'll force the nose down and you can get her down. So it's you just kind of learn to play the hills and you just gotta take what the track gives you.
For sure. And speaking of hills, moving into Dover next week, one of the highest banked ovals on the schedule. A lot of people talk about the hill down in turn 3, really bumpy racetrack. What are you looking forward to there and moving forward and the rest of the stretch down towards the playoffs?
I'm looking forward to ovals. It's been a stretch. I think we've had 3 road courses in the past 5 weeks. So looking forward to getting back to ovals. I've been doing a little bit of practice at Dover. It is pretty bumpy and it should be a fun race though.
All right, well, definitely looking forward to that race next week. And who helps you all get it done on the 44 machine every week?
Shout out to my girlfriend Amanda. I'm sure she was probably in the comments at some point. Shout out to Kenny and all the guys at TWRS and BMP. They give me a fast card every week. Shout out to Barry for putting on the league, and shout out to you guys. I look forward to watching this one back tomorrow while I'm sitting in my cube at work.
Well, definitely hope you enjoy the show, seeing yourself running P2, and we look forward to seeing you next week at Dover.
Sounds good, man.
All right, thanks, Sean. We'll now throw it back to Justin, who's back from his technical issues with Tim Wortman Jr.
Yes, indeed, Tim. Talk us through your night here tonight as you got the top 3.
Good to be talking to you guys yet another week in a row, stringing together a lot of good finishes here. Poor qualifying, locked the rears on the second lap when I was thinking I was probably going to put down a top 5 qualifying lap, and had to start back about 13th and flip the stage and set the tone for a good track position that I needed for the rest of the race, and felt like once we got going in that second stage, we showed we had pretty good speed.
So what is it about these road courses where you find the speed that you have in the past couple weeks?
There's some good coaching from the guys at Ryko. You get pretty good training each week that shows your brake marks and stuff, and obviously good setups. But that's what you do. You just got to work on your braking points and your what gear you need to be in, and once you get into a rhythm on that back half of the race, it just comes pretty naturally after that.
How do you feel about Dover next week?
I still think I'll pull together a pretty good finish. Dover hasn't been one of my stronger ovals. But I think the team's going to try and put forth a pretty good effort next week.
Any shows you like to give here after this one?
It's a rough night for the Warrior guys. Shout out to Nick. Keeps me looking good in the Warrior Wraps cars. Shout out to my buddy Jameson. He tells me all the time I keep getting these podiums. He goes, your win's gonna come soon. He goes, just keep trying, buddy. So thanks to him for keeping me motivated. So these winless streaks seem to go on forever. So we'll be looking to talk to you guys again next week.
Congratulations on the run, Tim.
Thank you.
Tim Wortman Jr. rounds out the top 3 interviews here tonight. I'd like to thank the whole top 3 for speaking with us during post-race coverage here on Ballin TV. Overall, what are your final thoughts here on this one as we get ready for Dover next week, Jeremy?
Yeah, honestly, just an extremely impressive run from Alex Coffey. He put the belt to them tonight, Justin. 19.729 to gap to second place, and I think it could have been a little more if he was pushed on the last lap, just kind of rode it to the victory. But really was a fun race to watch. I thought Coffey did everything perfectly all night long and was able to be rewarded with that win for that. And moving to Dover next week, concrete, high banking, very bumpy racetrack, should be an exciting show.
It's going to be an interesting time once again in the OB Builders Cup Series when we go back racing. Next time out, it'll be July 23rd, 8 p.m. start time here on Ballin TV. But on that note, it's time to say goodbye. For everyone here at Ballin TV, for my co-announcer Jeremy Miller and our producer DJ Lyon, I'm Justin Prince saying so long. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Watching tonight's coverage of the Victory Designs 250, the OB Builders Cup Series, as in the very end, the driver goes to Van Louis Sticker's victory lane is Alex Coffey.